Good evening. Welcome to the City of Lebanon Zoning Appeals meeting for Monday, February the 6th. Do we have a roll call, please?
Chad Kiger,
Here.
Bruce Pauley,
Here.
Ron Edwards,
Here.
and Lori Groves. Here.
Everybody here tonight. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the January 3rd meeting? And if there's no changes need to be made, I would entertain a motion to approve, or entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
Lori.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Our old business that was carried over to this month from last month that pertains to Lily's has been postponed for another 30 days. So if anybody in the audience is here for that, welcome to stay or you can go. Other than that, we have two items of new business tonight. Docket number 23-9 is a property that's located at 618 North Lebanon Street. It's a family zone, it's multifamily zoned, and is in a thoroughfare overlay district and comprises of 0.17 acres. The property is 61 feet wide, 122 feet in depth. Like to continue?
Sure, I'll take it from here.
Okay.
Good evening, board. We have a property on North Lebanon Street that the owner has proposed administrative professional offices, more specifically an accounting office, to be placed within what is currently a single-family home. Because of the multifamily zoning district, administrative professional offices are not a permitted use. Thus, the planning staff determined that a variance of use application would be required, and that's what we're here to do tonight, is to review this application and the statutory criteria that go along with that. So if we want to go ahead and pull up the screen, we'll get you acclimated to where we're at. We're on North Lebanon Street. We have Chicago Street running east-west here in Busby, so we're just north of the Domino's and just north of downtown. As Mr. Pauley mentioned, the property is zoned multifamily, currently has an existing single-family home. The applicant is proposing an accounting office that would have office hours from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. The business would include one full-time employee with two part-time employees. The part-time employees would never be there, or would generally not be there at the same time. At most, there would be two employees that would be at the business at any single time, which the property does allow for sufficient parking, because there is a two-car garage as well as an extended driveway. So there'd be plenty of room for parking for both the employees as well as any potential customers that may be coming by. The customers are the clients of the accounting office. Typically with accounting, some of you may have accountants, a lot of it's done electronically now via email and telephone. There are occasions when a customer may need to stop off to sign some papers or drop off paperwork, but that would also be limited for this type of business. So planning staff did review the statutory criteria, and I'll kind of walk through those. Let me zoom in a little bit here so you can get a better view of the property itself. So as I mentioned, there is a two-car garage towards the rear of the property and a significant driveway that runs east-west along the alley here that could fit at least 4 cars in the driveway plus the 2 within the garage. So more than enough parking to accommodate this particular use. As we're going through the statutory criteria, we have 5 items that we need to review. The first one, the variance of use permit of an accounting office on the subject property would not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The lot is sized appropriately for a small business, has the necessary off-street parking, and will not cause any adverse effects to the adjacent property. The second criteria, the requested use variance would not affect the use and value of the area adjacent to the property in a substantially adverse manner. The proposed office use of the property is consistent with the mixed-use character of the area, and as you look, as I mentioned, the Domino's, we've got a church, a mental health facility, so the mixed-use character of the area, it is consistent with other uses. The accounting office will maintain the residential character of the home and will not be out of place given the character of the existing neighborhood. The third criteria that we have to analyze is the property is currently zoned for multifamily uses. Thus, the single-family home, residential home that's there is currently a legally existing non-conforming use. In addition, the surrounding neighborhood contains a mix of single-family, multifamily uses, as well as several other small businesses. The applicant's request would allow use on the property that is similar to other uses along this Lebanon Street corridor. The fourth criteria, while zoned for multifamily uses, the existing structure is not multifamily. The site is not sized appropriately to accommodate any structure that is permitted within the multifamily zoning district. So the strict criteria of the UDO would render this site unusable if only the permitted uses were allowed on this property. And then the last criteria that we have to review is the City of Lebanon Comprehensive Plan does designate this property for residential uses. However, the Lebanon Street corridor from downtown towards the Memorial Park area has long contained a mix of single-family, multifamily, and small businesses. The applicant's proposal does not interfere substantially with this land use designation. So with that, the City of Lebanon Planning staff does recommend approval of the variance of use request to permit an accounting business within the multifamily zoning district, subject to the following three conditions. The first condition is that the approval of the variance use is limited to those accounting uses proposed by the applicant. Any change in use or increase in the intensity of the use by the current or any subsequent owners will require approval by the City of Lebanon Board of Zoning Appeals. The second criteria is that the property owner maintains the current exterior residential character of the property. And then lastly, the business signage is limited to either one wall sign or one post sign, no more than 4 square feet in area and 4 feet in height. In addition, the signage now shall not be lit in any manner. So after going through all that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have about this variance of use.
I think everybody's good at this time.
Very good.
Does the applicant have anything they'd like to add? Okay. Applicant does not want to add anything. This is a public hearing. If anybody in the audience would like to say anything, please step forward. Okay, we'll close the public end of the hearing and look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve docket 23-9. And do you want me to read these three items or as written?
As written, is fine.
As written.
Second.
The conditions,
You want me to read that?
You want,
or you're just
As written is
as
what he-
written for the
yeah.
conditions, right?
All right, as written for the conditions.
second.
Gotta have a motion first. Oh, you're the motion, you're the second. Okay, I'm sorry. Kelly?
Chad Kiger.
Aye.
Bruce Pauly.
Aye.
Ron Edwards.
Aye.
Lori Gross.
Aye.
Passes. Congratulations. One more item tonight is docket 2311. Thomas Davis requesting 2 development standards to construct a detached accessory structure on the property located at 2300 South, 200 East. The property is zoned single-family residential. Variants proposed are a square footage variance and a building height variance. Matt?
All right. Thank you again, Board. We are moving ourselves to the southwest side of town, just kind of west of I-65 and Indianapolis Road. The applicant is proposing to build a pole barn on the property, and this pole barn does not, or exceeds the maximum allowable area for an accessory structure based on the current property, as well as the maximum height, allowable height for an accessory structure. So they're looking for a variance today and kind of walk through each of those variance requests and talk about those. But if you want to go ahead, oh, got the map already up. So as I mentioned, I-65 is off to the east, Indianapolis Road. We have 200 here that the property is on in white. The airport kind of off to the west here. The applicant is proposing a pole barn, similar in nature to what is pictured here. The structure, or the property, the Unified Development Ordinance permits accessory structures to be a maximum of 50% of the area of the principal structure on the property. If we pull up the property here, we have, zoom in so you can see it, we have a home on the site that is approximately 2,350 square feet, and that would allow an accessory structure of 1,175 square feet minus 599 square feet for the existing detached garage. So that would leave, reduce to 599 after the reduction from the garage. The applicant's requesting relief to permit construction of a 1,700 square foot pole barn, as I had pulled up in the image here. And then the allowable height, the UDO permits 18 feet in maximum height. The applicant is requesting the proposed pole barn to be 22 feet, 4 inches tall. So we'll walk through these criteria that are necessary for each of these. And for the first criteria, the increase in size of the pole barn poses no imminent threat to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The structure will meet the necessary side and rear setback requirements consistent with other properties in the area that maintain multiple accessory structures that also do not meet the current requirements of the UDO. I can pull that up so you can get an idea. We've got accessory structures to the south that exceed the maximum area, off to the southeast. The hangars at the airport are a little bit larger. So we have multiple properties in the area that contain accessory structures that are similar in size. The requested variance would not affect the use and value of the area adjacent to the property in a substantially adverse manner. As we can see here, we are 400 feet from the nearest non-agriculture property and over 600 feet from the nearest residential structure, which is located here where my cursor is. So the proposed pole barn would have little to no effect on any adjacent property in the area. And then lastly, for the area size, the strict application of the terms of the UDO would result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. The UDO does not take into consideration properties located in mostly rural areas where lot sizes are typically larger and larger accessory structures and barns might be more appropriate. The development precedent that has been set by neighboring properties includes structures that are similarly sized to what is being requested by the applicant tonight. And the strict application of the terms of the UDO would require the accessory structure to meet standards that were designed for a more urban setting than thus posing an undue hardship on the property. So on the first variance request on the accessory structure area, City of Lebanon planning staff recommends approval of this variance request to permit relief from the maximum accessory structure area to allow the construction of a pole barn that is 1,792 square feet. In reviewing of the variance request for the height, the maximum height, the increase in the height of the pole barn does not pose any imminent threat to the public health, safety, general welfare of the community. An additional 4 feet in height will generally not be noticeable on the subject property, which is wooded and within a mostly rural area. The requested variance would not affect the use or value of the area adjacent to the property in a substantially adverse manner. It's over 400 feet from the nearest residential property line and over 600 feet to the nearest residential structure, thus having little or no effect on the adjacent properties. And then lastly, the strict application of the terms of the UDO, pretty much similar with the maximum area and size that we're in a mostly rural area where it's typically larger and where the properties are larger and the accessory structures are typically might be larger or maybe more appropriate. The development precedent's been set by neighboring properties include structures that are similarly sized to what's being requested. So the strict application of the terms of the UDO would require the accessory structure to meet standards that were designed for a more urban setting, thus posing an undue hardship on the property located in a rural area. And with that, the City of Lebanon planning staff does recommend approval of the variance request to permit relief from the maximum accessory structure height to allow construction of a pole barn that is 22 feet and 4 inches tall. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Matt, can you tell us again what direction of the parcel the pole barn is going to be constructed on? What side?
Let me zoom in here for you. Maybe I'll let the applicant point that out exactly. My understanding, it will be near the existing detached garage.
Western side.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. It'll be just south of that detached garage.
Okay.
Probably this area here. And again, they do intend to meet the required setbacks, both from the side yard and the rear yard.
Thank you. Applicant care to add anything to that?
We do not.
Okay. Once again, it's a public hearing. Anybody care to speak? Close the public end of the hearing and look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve docket 2311 as written.
Second.
Go ahead, Lori.
Second.
Chad Kiger.
Aye.
Bruce Polly.
Aye.
Ron Edwards.
Aye.
Lori Gross.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Good luck. That's all that I have for tonight. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say or anything?
Make a motion that we adjourn until March.
March 6th.
Second.
Got a motion, second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting is closed until March 6th, 7 PM.